Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to look at the Pickle module for Python. Now Pickle is essentially a serialization module. It allows you to convert objects into bytestream. Now when you create an object in Python, that object is represented in your memory in a different way than, let's say, a file on your computer. You can't just directly save an object to a file and then load it in as you do with, let's say, video files. But it would still be nice if we could do something like that. What if we had an object that we wanted to save as a file and then load in at a later point? Pickle allows us to do exactly that. So when we save an object as a file, we refer to that as pickling. And the opposite of that, when we actually load that pickle and create an object of it, that's called unpickling. Okay, so why would you want to do this? Why would you want to save an object and then load it in again? Let's say you have a machine learning model or classifier. It can take several hours, if not days, to train these models, which are saved in an object usually in Python or multiple objects. You don't want to retrain it every time you run the program. You want to run it once, let it train, and then that object, that model that you created, you want to save it so that you don't need to retrain it every time you run the program. You can simply apply that model to your data or whatever. Another good example would be reading CSVs or retrieving stock data, for example, from the web. That can also take more time than you will like, so a much faster way would be to retrieve it or read those data once, save it as a pickle, and then when you need it, simply load the pickle. So let's see how that actually works in the code. Now firstly, we need to import pickle so we can actually use all this functionality. Then we're going to need some kind of object that we are going to save as a file. In this instance, I'm just going to create a basic list containing the numbers 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9 and 10. Doesn't really matter what's in this list, it's just a proof of concept. Then we need to create a reference to the file we are going to save it to. We do that by creating a file object. So I'm going to call mine save_file. Set that equal to, and we're going to use the open function of Python to open a file. The file we're going to save it as, in this case, is going to be list.pkl. I usually use pkl, you can use any extension you like. Now the second argument of the open function will be, how do we want to open this file? What do we want to do with it? We want to write to it and we want to write bytes. Now we've created a list, which is our object we want to save, and we've created the file in Python. Then it's as simple as typing pickle.dump, and the first argument of this function will be the object we want to save, and the second one, where do we want to save it? We want to save it in our save file. Not really necessary in this case, but always close your files after you're done using it. Now if we just try to print this list, we can see that there are the numbers 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9 and 10. Okay, so now I'm just going to delete all this, and now what we are going to try to do is we're going to try to load this file and see if we can retrieve the object from it. So to do that, I'm going to create another file object, load_file equals, and we're going to use the open function again. This time it's important that you use the same name you used where you saved your file. Mine is list.pkl. And how do we want to open this file? We want to read from it, and we want to read bytes. Now we're going to try to retrieve this object. So I'm going to say list equals pickle.load, and the only argument needed is that load file. So once again, we want to close this file. And now let's see what happens when we print this list. And there you go. You can see that we've now loaded that object from the file, and Python sees it as a list as we intended it to be originally. So yeah, this is just a basic example of how you can save and load an object. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please leave a like down below and consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.